What's up, mathletes? Mr. Antonucci here. And in this video today, I want to talk about how to simplify some expressions that involve radicals. And so what I want to do here is first talk about some properties that are involved with expressions that involve square roots. So one of the main things that you're going to have to know is called the product property and the quotient property. The product property just says that if you have the square root of two factors being multiplied together, you can split them bad boys apart. Square root of A times square root of B. That's the product property. The quotient property, bada boop, bippity bop, wibbity beep, says that if you have the square root of a fraction, you can take the fraction of the square roots, or more appropriately, if you have the square root of a quotient, you can take this quotient of the square roots. In other words, you can break apart the fraction into the square root of the numerator and the square root of the denominator. Now, these properties work both ways. If you're multiplying two square roots, you can take the square root of the insides multiplied together. If you have a fraction with the square root in the numerator and the denominator, you can put the whole fraction inside the square root. So these properties work both ways. Sometimes students forget that the properties work both ways. I'm going to do a couple examples with multiplying, and then I'm going to show you a couple examples with dividing. So we just did the properties. So we'll start with one with just numbers. There's no variables in this one. First thing you want to do is figure out any perfect square factors, because you can take the square root of those. Turns out that the square root of 108 you can break up into 4 times 9 times 3. You want to do that first because you want to find the numbers that you can actually take the square root of. Okay, and then using that square root product property, you can break the square root up into a product. Now, I know that I don't just have the square root of something times the square root of something. There's a times something else, but the property applies no matter how many times you multiply. All right, so I can break this up into 4 times 9 times 3. Square root of 4, 2. Square root of 9, 3. Square root of 3, can't take the square root of that unless you had a calculator, but we're not talking about doing that. Stays in the radical as square root 3. Then the 2 times 3 just equals 6, and you have 6 root 3 is your answer. So the simplified form of square root 108 is 6 square roots of 3. All right, let's do another one. What if you have to multiply square roots? And you're like, Mr. Antonucci, why on earth would I ever have to do this? Well, when you get into more advanced math, you may solve a problem where you're trying to simplify it, and this kind of thing shows up, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? Well, now you know how to do it. Okay, so notice this starts off as the product. So I can actually rewrite it as the square root of 3 times 21. Now you can multiply that together and get 3 times 60, or excuse me, 3 times 21 is 63. You can multiply that together. And that would be fine, but don't do more work than you have to, because what you're doing is you're looking for perfect square factors. There are no perfect squares in 3. There are no perfect squares in 21, but 21, you can think of that as 3 times 7, right? And then you can, there you have a 3 times 3, which is 9, times the square root of 7, which is square root of 9 times square root of 7. So sometimes the perfect square factors don't show up right away, but you can figure them out. And then that would just simplify to 3 square root 7. Bippity bop, bippity boop. There you go. 3 square roots of 7. You know how you can always check your answers? Is if you take the original problem, bust it into a calculator, take your answer, pop it into a calculator, you should get the same decimal answer. Okay, I'll let you try that for this one. Go ahead and pause the video and try that out. Okay, did you get it? You didn't even pause the video. Come on, you know you didn't. All right, how about square root 128 x squared y cubed z? Mr. Antonucci doing some mathnastics on me. Or should we say math nasties? Okay, so I threw some variables in there. One thing that we have to be careful with is if you take the square root of x squared, just some sidebar work here, that is not equal to just x. Okay, because if, you know, let's say x is equal to -3. Well, if you do square root of -3 squared, that would be square root of 9, and square root of 9 is 3, and that's not equal to what you started with, okay? So you have to take the absolute value of x, and absolute value of x would be 3, and it would work. Okay, so anytime you take the square root of x squared, the answer should be absolute value of x, or absolute value of whatever the variable is. Okay, we're going to see that come up in this problem. Okay, so 128, square root of 128. We're going to break that up into its perfect square factors. Whoa, what just happened? Where'd the 8 go? I had the wrong problem in there, so I fixed it. All right, square root of 12, x squared, y cubed, z to the 4th. So 12 you can think of as 4 times 3. And remember, the reason we want 4 is because 4 is a perfect square. X squared is a perfect square, so we're going to leave that bad boy right there. Y cubed has a perfect square factor in it. You can think of y cubed as y squared times y. And then z to the 4th has 2 z squareds in it. So you could think of it as z squared times z squared. Okay, and then you have a bunch of multiplication problems here together. So what we want to do with this is we want to rearrange it and multiply as separate square roots. So for example, you would write that as square root of 4 times square root of x squared. Okay, we took care of that one and that one. Square root of y squared. I'm doing all the perfect squares first. Square root of z squared times square root of z squared times, and what's left? The square root of 3y. I'm going to leave that as 3y because there's no perfect square factors in there, so I'm going to leave that together. Now you just take the square root. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of x squared, I already told you, is absolute value of x. Square root of y squared. You would think that it would be absolute value of y, but here's the thing. There is still a factor of y in the square root, and since you can't take the square root of a negative number, you don't need the absolute value on the y for that one. Okay? Now, square root of z squared gives you a z times another z. Now look here. I don't need the absolute values on those because those will end up multiplying together to give you z squared anyway. Okay, so a bunch of exceptions I'm showing you in this problem. So you'd have 2 absolute value of x, y, z squared times the square root of 3y. Bippity bop, bippity boop. You know, sometimes what you got to do is you got to box it and write boom. All right. Sometimes you have to do a mic drop if it's really good, but we'll save that for another time. Okay. All right. So now I want to do some examples using the quotient property with you. Let's say we got square root 18 over x to the 6th. Well, using the quotient property, I can write that as the square root of 18 over the square root of x to the 6th. Now what you got to do is write 18 as a product involving a perfect square, if you can find one. Well, luckily 18 has a factor of 9, which is perfect square. So you can write that as square root 9 times 2, both inside the radical, because I haven't done any square roots yet. And then in the denominator, you can think of that as x squared times x squared times x squared. Okay. Now, the numerator, you can, let me put it down here. The square root 9 is going to end up being 3, and then the 2 is going to stay in the radical because you don't take the square root of it. The denominator is going to end up being x cubed, because you would have square root of x squared, which is x times another x times another x. Now here's the thing. You would need the absolute values on this, because if x were negative and you cubed it, it would still be negative. Okay, so you need the absolute values on there. So basically, anytime you take the square root of an even power and the answer ends up being an odd power, you need the absolute values on there, because that takes care of the special case if there was a negative. The only exception to that is if you still have a factor of that variable in the square root after you simplify it. Okay, so there's that one. All right, one more. Let's do square root of 16ab over 9ab cubed. Okay, so we have a square root of a quotient. We can rewrite it as the square root of the numerator, 16. You know what? Hold up, just a minute. What we can do is simplify this a little bit. Did you notice those a's cancel? Bippity bop, bippity boop. And a factor of b can cancel, and that would make that b squared. So now your radical would be radical 16 over square root 9. Let me make that 9 look a little nicer. So we got square root 9b squared. Now you know the square root is 16. Let me put it down here, is 4. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of b squared is just b. Now, I don't have any variables left, any b's left in the radical. I took the square root of an even power and got just b. So I need to have my absolute value on the b there. Simplified it. Boom. Now, sometimes you're going to end up with a square root in the denominator. In that case, you need to rationalize the denominator. I'm not going to go over that in this video, but I'm going to work on making another video about what's called rationalizing the denominator and talking about how you know if your radical expression is completely simplified. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Hope that was helpful to you. If you have a question in math that you'd like me to make a video on, drop it in the comments and maybe I'll make some time to make a video about it. Please do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded so that you can keep track of all the videos I put out there. All right, Math Ninjas, hope that was good for you today. You take care now.